Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the 15th edition of Flat Earth School. Here on YouTube anyway. Flat Earth School is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I'm Mitchell from Australia. I'm not a teacher, merely just a student like the rest of us here in our beautiful, natural Flat Earth School around us. I'm coming to you from the top of a mountain today, about 600 meters above sea level. Beautiful look out here, overlooking my local area, the Shoalhaven. Don't know if you guys can see it, but around here, that's point perpendicular where the observation of my Australian black swan was. I was over here somewhere at Collingwood Beach, 7.8 miles to point perpendicular, and the horizon far in the background. That was the observation. For those of you playing at home. Who's in the chat? Good morning. Good evening. Michael Khan. Always first here. Enlightened Patron, how are you, mate? Vitamin Z. Yeah, it's gorgeous up here. Dusty Rider, another patron, how are you, mate? Explain how. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to talk a bit about the refraction paradox. Now, that's not for the flat Earth. We don't have a paradox. We don't have a statement that is self-contradictory, that can never happen in the first place to happen for the consequent. Paradox is just... In the globe world, paradoxes are just hilarious. P900 Cool Pics, how are ya? Canada Spaceman, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Now, it is a little bit windy up here, which is definitely not a problem for us flat earthers. It's definitely a problem for globers, because you can't have wind on a globe earth in an open system. No, it's just not possible. P900 Cool Pics says he's good. Awesome. Hopefully you're a lot better after seeing views like this. Hopefully everyone is happy and healthy. And if you're on lockdown, I encourage everyone to read the rules of what they say you're allowed to do, and just use it to your advantage. For me, this is work. This is my income. Although it might not be very much at the moment, I do appreciate all my patrons. You guys are awesome. Having a lot more fun sharing this with you guys. 16 patrons, I might shout you guys out. 16 awesome patrons so far after 3 weeks of Flat Earth School. I'm so humbled. Okay, so I've got Dale Bourne, John Furr, Dusty Rider, Chris, Tristan Trickers, Will Brax, Ronald Durack, BMLSB69, John Swartz, Brian Leakey, Alec One Show, Michael Kahn, Malcolm Foster, Angie S, Dawn Judds, and Paul on the Plane. Malcolm Foster, good to see you, another patron there. Bri, how are you? Yeah, Vitamin Z, it's about 630 meters above sea level. Above the level of our flat Earth down there. Nathan Oakley, how are you, mate? Says, if you can't measure R, you can't refract the horizon with R-based refraction. Yep, that's terrestrial refraction. And that's the paradox that the globe zealots find themselves in. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. The refraction paradox. Not a problem, like I said, not a problem for us flat earthers. There are very little problems for us flat earthers, because when you realize that this world is absolutely flat, stationary, and closed, nothing's a problem anymore. Yeah, you might have some questions, but you remember when you're a kid and you're full of wonder? You don't really know things, but everything seems magical and awesome. That's what your world turns back into when you look into flat Earth. You really don't know where we are, how things work. Some things don't have causes. Some things you just have to take that they are there and they always will be there. It's when we get into the explanations of these things we have no idea about. That's when we get into a fairy tale dreamland of religious belief of a globe. But let's face it, that is the one world religion. Artem Brayson, how are you, mate? Iron Horse, he can see the curve. Lol, yeah. Definitely no curve out there. And just by having, there is a bit of wind in the background, and there's a massive phone tower behind me. Probably not the healthiest location, but it is definitely a beautiful view. It sounds like there's a jumbo jet taking off behind me from this wind. And the only reason that we can have wind, the only way wind can exist, which is high pressure gas moving to low pressure gas, is if it's in container. Yep, the horizon's definitely not Earth curve, Nathan. We only have one horizon. The horizon in the globe model was geometric before it was debunked by the Black Swan. Yeah, Michael Kahn says Helios-centric sun god worship. That's kind of what it comes down to for the globe religion, doesn't it? They're just worshipping that old sun god. Not sure if we're going to see a sunrise here today. There's clouds, so it won't be coming over that horizon, the only visible horizon we see. I think it's still a bit too far north. It's around the corner of those trees around here, but yeah, I'm definitely not. I don't think I'm going to see it today, unfortunately. I'm going to have to come back here in about a month or two. Then we'll definitely see it. Zoom right in on that horizon, the only one horizon that we see. So I've titled this show The Refraction Paradox. And that is firmly targeted at globe believers. Here on Flat Earth, we definitely have refraction. And I'm going to detail that. But the refraction that the globers have is a paradox. It is terrestrial refraction. It is based on an R value. And that R value has been absolutely debunked many times over. Once by myself last week with my Australian Black Swan. For those of you that didn't see, that's the Australian Black Swan. Those rocks there, just a demarcation point. 7.8 miles from my observer point. I'll get the actual Black Swan image. Here we go. So this is an enhanced image. Oh, looks like it's a little Alright. So the Black Swan, or the Australian Black Swan anyway, there's those rocks. There's a mirroring layer. This is not mirage, that is just simply mirroring. That's the bottom of the rocks, 7.8 miles away. And the horizon's above that in the distance. So if we put it through the Modus tolerance argument, if P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If we were living on a sphere of 3959 miles, then Q, every single distance to the horizon can be no more than 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Not Q. We definitely did not see the horizon at 1.22 times the square root of observer's height in feet. That Australian Black Swan was taken from a 5.5 foot observer height. So the horizon can only be 2.8 miles from my observer location and my observer height. And we are seeing the horizon far in excess of 7.8 miles. So not P, the Earth is not a sphere of radius 3959 miles. So that is the R value absolutely debunked. So to have terrestrial refraction, standard refraction, the refraction of the globe model, It's like their sponsor. Refraction of the globe model. Brought to you by Standard Refraction. That is the only refraction that if you live on a globe, that's the only refraction you have. Well, and there's the sun coming up over there. Almost see it. I reckon probably 2 weeks. It is moving south every day at a very, very constant rate. And that's just an apparent an apparent observation of the sun moving south. Obviously, it's always north to me. There is only one direction in our world, and that is magnetic north. Everything else is just relative. Up, down, relative, left, right, relative. If you're looking at someone, they're looking at you, and you say go left, she's going to go in opposite directions, aren't you? To your observer, yeah, you're going to go left, but it is relative, isn't it? It's all based on the observer. Magnetic north, no matter how you're viewing magnetic north, it is always going to be the same direction, the exact same direction. No other direction on Earth is absolute. Yeah, Iron Horse says that effect which makes a ship look like it's hovering mid-air. I'm going to go into that. That is an actual refractive effect. Detailed by Andrew Thomas Young, PhD Andrew Thomas Young. He is firmly on the globe side, but he details what actual refraction is, and it's not standard refraction. So standard refraction, I'll go back into it because this is the paradox. And for those, yeah, Michael Kahn, you can definitely see much further in IR with an IR filter and a infrared filter. That'd be awesome. I think you can even do that on the P1000 now. I had a go at doing it on one of my P900s. Didn't go too well. Snapped one of the ribbons. Pretty disappointing, but there are a lot of Coolpix, P900 Coolpix. Was in the chat here before. Subscribe to that channel, P900 Coolpix. They have an awesome channel. They show a lot of infrared observations. A lot of black swans in there. Yeah, P900 Coolpix, there they are. Click on that and make sure you subscribe to them. A lot of awesome IR videos. Hey, P900 Coolpix, do you have a infrared P1000 yet? Love to see some stuff in. I don't think I've seen some stuff in. I'm gonna have to look up. Yes, says P900 Coolpix. Infrared in the P1000. Wow. From the UK, observations from the UK. Go on, even that is itself is intriguing. Please go and subscribe to P900 Coolpix. She shows images and videos in infrared. Kind of got off on a tangent there. So refraction. The only refraction that the globe model has is a paradox. It is based on the R value. Yeah, what a nice view. This is Canberra Mountain in the Shoalhaven. So it is based on the R value. 7/6R is what standard refraction is. Now it sounds silly, doesn't it? Standard refraction, not taking into account any other effects that, well, what about the 83 things that Tim Osmond gave us? They're things that lots of them were describing conditions that would affect refraction, but none of them seem to ever. Thanks, Michael Kahn, putting P900 Coolpix YouTube channel in the chat. Click on that, subscribe, come back quickly. Man, I should stop reading the chat. Lost my train of thought. I can't do two things. That's why I ignore the chat and just go on a big diatribe. Or just read the chat. Can't do both things. Anyway. Someone help me out. What was I talking about? I was talking about standard refraction. And so standard refraction, 7/06R value. Oh yeah. Tim Osmond's 83 things. I still haven't got to the end of that list of 83 things from Tim Osman, globe believer Tim Osman, who says, who used to regularly give us images of boats going over the horizon. Yeah, more specifically, it's terrestrial refraction paradox or standard refraction paradox. Thanks for that, Vitamin Z. Yeah. Because, okay, so what is a paradox? An example of a paradox is the grandfather killer paradox. If you go back in time and kill your grandfather, that becomes a paradox, because if you kill your grandfather, he would not have the opportunity to have your father, and he would not have the opportunity to have you, and so you would not be able to exist to go back in time to kill him. It becomes a paradox. It's such a contradictory statement that it prevents the consequent from happening. It prevents the first initial antecedent to happen. You won't be born, so you can't go back in time to kill your grandfather, but then you won't kill your grandfather, so he won't. It becomes a mess, doesn't it? And that's the mess the globe believers find themselves in with standard refraction, because standard refraction, terrestrial refraction, it must have the R value, the radius value, and you do not have a radius value anymore if you think you're living on a globe. That has been thoroughly debunked since the 1st of January 2021. That was the first official Black Swan, brought to you by BMLSB69 and Quantum Eraser. BMLSB69, subscribe to him today. He brought us that. It was actually a lot older than that. That was from a few years before that. So it was just sitting there. It was one of those things just under our noses, and it had to be put into the logical consistency and argument of modus tollens from Quantum Eraser. Subscribe to Quantum Eraser channel. And it was presented on the Nathan Oakley channel. If you are a globe believer and you think you have globe evidence, or you think you can just argue against the flat earth, if you are a pretty handy anti-flat earther where you just like to argue against flat earth beliefs, well, it's not beliefs, flat earth proofs. If you just argue against flat earth arguments, anti-flat earthers, go to Nathan Oakley. He runs a daily debate channel, debate stream, lots of people in there. He's very accommodating. I'm sure you'll find that out very soon. I encourage everyone to go over there and watch Nathan Oakley. Subscribe to him today. Alright, so the paradox. So you first need the R value to have your standard refraction. That is bendy light around a spherical surface of spherical air. So they also say atmosphere. That's another part of the paradox. Atmosphere, contradiction. You need. They say that they have an open system. Well, you need a contained system to have atmo, air, sphere is a shape. So spherical shaped air. So when get this. So we get told where's our dome here on flat Earth. Yeah? But you globers, you absolutely need a dome. You tell us atmosphere, spherical shaped air. That invokes not a container, but a dome shape. Yeah? So where's your dome, globers? Atmosphere. Every time you say atmosphere, you are invoking, unwittingly, a container and a dome. We don't have to have a dome. I don't assert that we have a dome. We definitely are contained. That's very obvious, that because we have gas pressure, because we have wind. It's a bit windy here today. Hopefully it's not coming in the microphone. You can see it in the plants just in front of me. Hopefully I've hidden well enough. The camera is moving a bit. I apologise. Hopefully it doesn't fall off the tripod. But the paradox of refraction, standard refraction, the terrestrial refraction paradox, is you first need the R value to have 7/6R. If you don't have the R value, you're not going to have refraction. If you don't have refraction, what happens? It all falls apart. You need your refraction. The globe falls apart if you don't have your standard refraction. things can't refract if you don't have the R value. It becomes a paradox. Does not work. So I'm going to go through what actual refraction is. Actual real refraction. Because refraction is definitely a real thing. It's just not bending through a bendy atmosphere, spherical shaped air, no. And even if you did have atmosphere, spherical shaped air, it'll only be spherical shape at the top of that container that you unwittingly invoke. It won't be in the middle of the container following a curved earth, no. Air, that violates natural laws of air, gas laws. Link, how are you, mate? It is an absolute shamble for you globers. Show us spherical shaped air. Even in a container, just show us spherical shaped air. Yeah? Because even if, well, where's the container? Is it down? Is it down at your observer? Is there a container from you to the observer, to the observation point? That's the only way you're going to have a spherical shaped air from your observer point to the observation. If there's a container right from your eyes in a sphere shape to the observer point. Yeah, no. That's what we have to get to. Imagination land. But obviously, we do not have we do not have a spherical shaped container for the globe model. No, it's just becomes a paradox for them. Like I said, you have to have 7/6 R value. What's that? Oh, it's got the R value. Ah, Black Swan. Black Swan debunks your R value. You haven't got the R value anymore. Alright, so let's get into what real refraction is, because we don't have standard refraction. Alright, I'll do a bit of screen sharing. So, refraction. I don't think there's any refraction in this image. There might be on the sun, but this is just a nice little slide. Hopefully I've got this going the right way. Alright, so what have we got? So this, I'll show you one without refraction first. I haven't put these in order. Alright, so this, I've just put this lighthouse in here. This is just a lighthouse, no refraction. Okay, we're just looking at this lighthouse. I've just put it in there to give a bit of a reference point. Okay, and so this is one type of refraction that Andrew Thomas Young details. So towering is the vertical stretching of an image. That's what towering is. That's one type of refraction that Andrew Thomas Young details. So it is vertical stretching of the image relative to the horizon. Yeah? So it's relative to the horizon. It is never that horizon out there, is never that horizon refracting. It just does not happen. There is no definition other than standard refraction, which is a paradox, which doesn't exist. Spherical shaped air, no, it doesn't exist. R value doesn't exist. 7/6 R doesn't exist. It's a paradox. There is no definition other than the imagination, the imaginary concept of standard refraction, that the horizon doesn't refract. Okay, there's no effect of a refracting horizon. It is images, objects, relative to the horizon. So this is just a standard. So I'm going to have this lighthouse here as standard, no refraction. This is towering, when it's vertically stretched relative to the horizon. That's towering. Detailed by Andrew Thomas Young. Another one is miraging. Hey Arwen, how are you? Just going through what actual refraction is and the paradox of refraction. Arwen says it best. This is where I got the paradox from. Arwen, can you just put a brief description of the refraction paradox, or the standard refraction paradox? That'd be awesome, man. So this is another effective refraction, mirage, and there's so many different types of mirages. This is this whole subcategory. This is just one type of mirage. So when there's a doubling of the image, it's pretty obvious when you're seeing a mirage because you're seeing a doubling of that image. Some's upside down, some's beneath, there are so many different mirages, but mirage is just a subcategory, and it is just a doubling of the image. What else we got? So, sinking. That's another one, sinking. So, this is where that object appears. It's all apparent. It is not physical. That's what refraction is. It's just apparent, is optical. Everything is optical. Sinking is when the image appears to be lower relative to the horizon. It appears to sink behind the horizon. Owen says, if the horizon, that horizon out there, if the horizon was refracted and not geometric, then you cannot use the horizon to establish the radius on the Earth through optical measurement. Yeah. So, yeah, that's probably a much better way of describing the paradox. If the horizon was refracted and not geometric, then you cannot use the horizon to establish the radius of the Earth. Because that's how... Oh, and did you delete it? Oh no, it's still there. Did you fix it up? So if the horizon was refracted and not geometric, then you cannot use the horizon to establish the radius of the Earth through optical measurement. That's what Al-Biruni did. He went up to a mountain like this. He got his little bubble level out. He saw there was a dip angle from the bubble level because he's higher, because it's parallel to that sea level down there. So obviously if you have two parallel lines, they're never going to meet. So obviously from the top parallel line looking down at the bottom parallel line, it's going to be a dip angle, isn't there? Yeah? So to begin with, I don't want to go into it yet. Al-Biruni. I'll go into it after. I'm still going through refraction. So that was sinking. Sinking. Oh, that's a good one. Travis Warren. Hey, if a bunch of people are looking at the same distant object, then is it refraction in all directions? So my understanding of refraction, it is relative to the observer's observation. Yeah, it is all relative. It's optical. So obviously it's like looking at the sun. The sun reflecting on water. You know, that big line you see, the sun's in the water, the sun's above the horizon, is reflecting the water, and it goes straight to you, straight to your feet. So if you've got someone next to you, it'll go straight to their feet as well. But you're both looking at the sun simultaneously, but each observer sees something different. So that's correct me if I'm wrong, but refraction is all to do with the observer. Every observer has a different observation point, different conditions that they're looking through, different optical effects. Even from how I detailed, I was at the beach with two Nikon P900s. Just from those two Nikon P900s, they have the same observer point, different observer heights, and the refraction would be different on those two. And then compared to my eye as well, and compared to my phone, they are all different observer points, so they would all experience different refractive effects. All right, so that was sinking, where the image, this is one that the globe believers use when something has been sinking, which is an object relative to the horizon appears to be lower than the horizon. So this is just an image of the lighthouse without refraction. This is the sinking image. You can see it is still the same, pretty much the same dimensions. It just appears to be lower compared to the horizon. And it is all compared to the horizon. It is never the horizon refracting compared to the horizon. That horizon does not move compared to the horizon. It definitely does change. It's definitely optical. But on a globe Earth, they assert they have two horizons. First, the geometric horizon, the horizon that apparently we never see anymore, that physical Earth curve. They say that the horizon that we see is just a refracted version of the geometric horizon, which Owen just gave us a great statement of why it's a paradox. I'll try and find it again. So if the horizon was refracted and not geometric, then you cannot use the horizon to establish the radius of the Earth through optical measurement, because that's how Alberini, getting back onto it, got me started again. I'm not through refraction yet. All right, we'll go back. Okay, looming. This is another one, looming. So this is the opposite of sinking. So this is just the standard image, no refraction here of that lighthouse. This one here, this is where we see the effect of boats looking like they're floating above the horizon. So looming is the opposite of sinking. So when the object that you're looking at appears to be higher relative to the horizon, it's all relative to the horizon, that's what looming is. As described by Andrew Thomas Young, PhD, Andrew Thomas Young. Yes, globe believer, but he describes what actual refraction is. Not terrestrial refraction. We do not have terrestrial refraction. There is no examples of terrestrial refraction because it is a paradox. So that's looming, opposite of sinking. That is a real effect of refraction, where we see the boats appearing to float above the horizon. It's pretty cool. If you've seen that, you might be scratching your head thinking, what is it? But yeah, it's just looming. When the object appears to be higher vertically relative to the horizon, compared to the horizon. Yep. And the last one is stooping. Stooping is the vertical compression of an image. So this is the normal lighthouse. This is stooping. The vertical compression of an image relative to the horizon. So it's been squashed. They're the 4 effects of refraction. Stooping, looming, sinking, no refraction, and towering. They're the 4 effects that we generally see, other than miraging. But it's pretty obvious when you see a mirage. It is the other 4, towering, sinking, looming, and stooping, that we all get confused with. Why are we seeing these things? It is refraction. That's real refraction. That's refraction that we can see every day. But the refraction, as Arwen detailed, the paradoxical standard refraction that Arwen detailed, I'll go back to the comment because it was a great comment. He puts it well. So they tell the globe believers, the anti-flat earthers, believe us that horizon out there is refracted. So if the horizon is refracted, then it's not geometric, is it? It is optical. And that is the point where we can welcome whoever's saying that to flat earth. Yeah, that's our argument. The horizon is always optical. It is never geometric. It needs to be geometric for the globe model to have a radius value. Because if it is refracted and not geometric, not physical, then you cannot use the horizon to establish the radius of the Earth through optical measurement. It is such a paradox because number one, you're not physically measuring the horizon, are you? It's not a physical measurement. It is an optical measurement. And things like the black swan, yeah, you're not physically measuring it, but optically, when you see things that are, for in my case, from a 5.5 foot observer height, 7.8 mile distance, yeah, we just see those rocks. As a flat earther, I'll bring the image up again. I'll screen share my image. Highly technical here on Flat Earth School. When we see this image of the Australian black swan, we see those rocks. As a flat earther, yeah, we just say we see rocks. Yeah, we see those rocks. But if you are a globe-believing zealot, a fundamentalist of the globe religion, you need to assert that those rocks are only visible because refraction is moving the horizon, which is far in the distance beyond it. That's what the globe religion does. It creates paradoxes. It makes you look like a fool. Because when flat earthers, we get mocked by everyone, left, right, and centre, and that's all our opposition has, mocking. They try and make us sound stupid. So how stupid are you when you get shown up by a flat earther for being wrong? We know the globe model so much better than most globers. That's why we're winning this argument. if someone's looking into flat Earth, that is the start of a winning argument, because you've gone past the point of just blocking your ears, closing your eyes, just going about your day on believing about a globe. When you look into flat Earth, that is the point where we are starting to win that argument for that person. It is a very, very personal, individual journey. You can't force people onto this. You can try. You can. Some people respond to force. Obviously, a lot of people in the world now are responding very negatively to force, and it's all about your action. But I digress. That is another topic for another day. Look at me. This is how I've responded to the force of, I must wear a mask, I must get a vaccine, I must follow these regulations, I must stay at home. When I get told to do something, look what I do. Do I conform? Am I at work wearing a mask with the vaccine? Staying at home? No. I'm out in our beautiful flat Earth world. No, Nathan, the vaccines are definitely not free. You pay for it with your health, and sometimes, in some cases, with your life. So I hope you're watching live, because this probably won't be up on my channel for too much longer. Thanks Nathan. No, it's my fault. I said it. I'm owning it. Oh, hey, if you guys don't want the vaccine, look what I found. I'm going to make a how-to video on how to get this magical document. Okay, so if you are part of a clinical trial related to the vaccine, so this is not conspiracy. This is not going off on a tangent here on like, yeah, well, hey, look at me, I know my rights, blah blah blah. This is a legit thing that you guys can do. And this is international too. It's not just in Australia. I think it's based in the UK, but it's an international clinical study on the effects of the vaccine, of people getting the vaccine compared to people not getting the vaccine. So if you want to be a person on the side of the clinical trial that does not get the vaccine, and you want to give out you have to report monthly your health status, if you're feeling sick, if you've got anything wrong with you. It's all up to you what you want to give them. You don't have to give them anything. But being part of the clinical trial, you get one of these. A card that is part of the SARS-CoV-2 vaccine control group. You are a part of the control group. If you have not got the vaccine, you got your name, you got a little ID, you got your image. That's not mine. This is just one I found online. I've got mine. I ready to whip out whenever I need. And look in red, it says must not be vaccinated. This person is a registered participant in the SARS-CoV-2 vaccine control group. This is a legit program. I'm going to show you guys. Stay tuned to my channel. I'm going to show you guys how to get this card. It's a digital card. You can print it off, you can laminate it, pin it on your shirt. If you're getting hassled, I'm not sure if it's really happening too much. It's definitely not happening in Australia, but it is going that way. You're going to have to produce evidence of having the vaccine to get into places, to cross borders, that sort of stuff. And this card here is an exemption to the vaccine. If you're part of a clinical study, you can sign up to this group. I'm gonna tell you how to do it. Have I got the actual? I'll see if I've got the website here. So if you sign up to that group to be part of the clinical study, oh man, I don't have it. You're gonna have to stay tuned to my channel because I don't have the actual website on hand. I'm just showing you what you get. You get a card. It is totally free too. You don't have to pay for it. But if you want a plastic card, they can send it to you for a small donation. I don't recommend doing that. You don't need to pay for this. You get a card, print it out. It might not. Some people might not accept it, but if you're part of a clinical study, you don't have to have the vaccine because you're part of that clinical study. This is a legit thing to see the effects of a vaccinated person compared to a non-vaccinated person, because this sort of data is not available. We have just recently had this brand new vaccine. Nobody knows what it does. Some people do. Some people, unfortunately, have been, very disabled. They have experienced things that no one should be experiencing from something that you choose to do or supposedly forced to do. Some people have died from it. There are lots and lots of people. I think in the UK it's past 1,500 deaths now for the vaccine, and that has surpassed the official count of COVID deaths. So people are willingly getting that vaccine, and it is up to the individual. No one has been forced to get it, but if you want to be part of society still, if you want to go to work, if you want to eat out, if you want to cross borders, that's something that you're faced with. You're faced with the choice. And hopefully this is something that can help people decide. You can get a card like this. You can be part of the clinical study, the vaccine control group. I think that's the website, vaccine control group. Google vaccine control group. Look into it. Sign up. You can sign your family up. You can sign everyone up. You get these digital cards. Got your name, got your photo, and it says must not be vaccinated because you are registered participant of the vaccine control group. It requests that you do a monthly update of your medical status. You don't have to if you don't want to. No one's forcing you to do this. You don't have to pay. It is free. It's not something that anyone's forcing you to do. But if you want a document that says this person must not be vaccinated, be part of that clinical trial. It's up to everyone. I'm going to do a how-to video on how to get these things. It's all up to you guys. I've already done it for my family. Got the card. Going to print it out, laminate it, stick it on my shirt if I need it. It's just one of those things to just. It could be the difference between you being able to get into a shop to get food just quickly, because at the end of the day, it is all just people. It is people attacking people. The government, other than obviously the police and the army, they're still just people. They're not the government. They work for the government. They're just people. It is people attacking people. The government's a big bad boogeyman. Just like the virus, a big bad boogeyman. You will never see, hear, touch, smell. It won't do anything to you. They won't force you to do things, the government. But documents like that could just be the difference between getting into a shop to get food, getting petrol, not getting hassled. Yeah, you just whip something out. Like I've got a little tag I've left in the car that says, I stick it on my shirt, and everywhere here in New South Wales, in my state, statewide, there's something like 6 million people in the state, all locked down at the moment. I think it's more like 8 million. 8 million people in the state locked down. You can't go between local governments at the moment. You have to wear, as soon as we step outside, we have to wear a mask. I've got a little tag that says I'm exempt. I have a medical exemption from wearing a mask. It's just a little thing like that you can just point to and go, yeah, I'm exempt, when people hassle you. When you go to the petrol station and you're just paying for petrol, you're just trying to get petrol so you can drive around, and they say, where's your mask? I'm not serving you. And you just point to the little tag and go, I have a medical exemption. And it's that instant that person has to decide, okay, well, I'm not going to mess with them because I know I can get in trouble if I deny them service. So you just pay for it, you get out of there, and that's it. Yeah, they might think about it later and go, oh, maybe that wasn't legit, but it is things like that. Just this little card that says this person must not be vaccinated. That's what it might come to. It might come to showing proof that you have been vaccinated to get petrol, to get groceries, just the basic stuff. And it's the choices that everyone's making. Everyone is fearful that this is going to happen. And what happens when no one likes getting hassled? No one likes someone coming up to them and saying, hey, give me proof or something. Like, you have to conform. These are the rules, don't you? Watch the news. No one likes being in those situations. Yeah, you can learn the laws. You can stand there. You can film it. You can make some great videos that we've all been seeing circulating of people knowing their rights, knowing the stuff, having a good old argument with police, usually ending up being arrested. But most people don't like that. And don't be afraid of this is definitely not medical advice or legal advice, by the way, but being arrested for these offences, it is nothing to be scared of. All they do is they detain you, they get your ID. If you get your ID, if you give them your ID, they won't arrest you, because that's usually the reason why you're being arrested, because people refuse to give ID. It's easy, just give them your ID, and then you don't have to take their ticket. You're not obliged to take the piece of paper saying you must pay this thing. They've got your address details. Just say, send it to my address. I'm not taking it. I'm not consenting to that. Is just the way that you react to these things determines. Yeah, if you play along, if you play along with the game to an extent where you're just comfortable doing it. Some people like wearing masks. Me, no. I'm not wearing a face diaper. I'm not wearing the mask of shame. And that's why I'm currently doing these Flat Earth videos. That's why I'm doing Flat Earth School, because I'm currently unemployed. I haven't had proper work for months now. So if you do like my work, shameless plug, shameless e-begging, if you do like my work, I'm currently unemployed and I'd really appreciate everyone's help. Because I'm trying to help everyone. I'm trying to help people that don't know as much about the world around me as myself. I'm trying to help people understand this Flat Earth school that we live in. I'm trying to help people understand ways of getting through this system. If you still want to be part of the system, if you still want to go to the supermarket to get your groceries, if you still want to go to petrol stations to get your petrol, or gas, as you'd call it in America. There's some things like that mask exemption card. Email me if you're in Australia. I can definitely hook you up with that. mitchellfromAustralia@gmail.com. The vaccine control group, where you get the card saying this person must not be vaccinated because you're part of a clinical study. And that's not a fraudulent claim. You can sign up, you can be part of the clinical study, you can give them whatever information you want to give them. But at the end of the day, it is just these things that make life easier, that little bit easier for people. And that's what I'm trying to do. So if you like my work, if you're getting something out of my work, please sign up to Patron. Patreon.com/Mitchell from Australia. The link is in the description of this video and every video on my channel that I'm doing. You can now become a member of my channel. You can super chat. Any super chats would be much appreciated. You guys are awesome, my 16 patrons that I have at the moment. It's just stuff like this I'm trying to make. If I find a bit of information, I've got to give it to people. I don't hold it back. I don't keep it for myself. It's not a little secret. There's a lot of other things, like there's ways around doing the sign-in as well, the QR sign-in. If you're in Australia, email me, mitchellfromaustralia@gmail.com. I can give you guys help with these sort of things. It's not exclusively a Flat Earth. It is predominantly a Flat Earth stream, but I'm going to be talking about other things like homeschooling, just a better way of life. At the moment, I couldn't think of anything worse than sending your kid off to school not knowing what the hell those people who are looking after your kid are telling your child. It is, there's just, yeah, school is an indoctrination camp, but at the moment, wow. You don't know. Iron Horse, thank you very much. $5 super chat. You are awesome, man. Keep up the good work, Mitchell, Australia's own Globebuster. We won't go there, Iron Horse. That was a one show only for Globebusters. We'll move on from that, but thank you, Iron Horse. It is people like you that really give me the encouragement and support that I kind of need. You know, like 50 people in this live stream. That is awesome. That I'm blown away by that support. That is awesome. And when people take it further and give me money, that is, I'm so grateful. Thank you very much, Iron Horse, and thank you to my 16 patrons. But yeah, homeschooling, if you are in Australia and you want help with registering for homeschooling, because that is the best thing you can do for your children right now, take them out of the system, educate them yourselves if you can. Some people can't. It doesn't suit everyone. But just hear me out. This is what homeschooling for me and my family is. So it's 3 days a week, 2 hours a day maximum. For that, that's for my 12-year-old who's, or 11-year-old. He's in year 6 here in Australia. He's about to go to high school, but still in primary school. So he does about 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, and it's 8 weeks a term. Yeah, so obviously we have a massive amount of time to do whatever the hell we want. Because schooling doesn't stop from the paperwork that you're doing, from the books that you're reading, from the sheets that you're doing. Yeah, that's like a formal education that you kind of, you're agreeing to do, following the curriculum. Yeah, being good little part of society so you can fit in, so you got this knowledge, yeah, so you can regurgitate. But that's all you need. That's literally all you need to do for your children to get them to the standard, even a better standard of what you're getting from school. Obviously, some people don't have the time or money. It is a little bit expensive, but we have courses that we can share with people here in Australia. We have kindergarten year 1, year 2, year 4, year 5, year 6. We have all those courses. We can share them with people. Email me at mitchellfromaustralia@gmail.com. I can hook you up with that stuff, people. I can help you with the registration. I can give you just the experiences that we do. So maximum 2 hours a day for 3 days a week. You've got 4 whole days. Obviously you can do more, but that is just the minimum that we do. We do so much more. We go out to beaches. We went to a beach the other day and talked about erosion because there was a massive storm. You just get outside and learn. There's so much bush school that you can do. It's just all about taking the situation for what it is. That's what I'm all about. Just being here and now. I try and encourage people, don't dwell on the past, because that's where depression comes from. Don't dwell on the future, because that's where anxiety comes from. Just be here in the moment, right? That's the only place that we can be. Physically can be, right here in the moment. And it's all about the quality, the quality of life that everyone has. I'm just trying to make it a little bit better for everyone. So if you want information about things here in Australia that can make your life better, homeschooling, exemptions for masks, exemptions for vaccines, that sort of thing, email me, mitchellfromaustralia@hotmail.com. I can help you out. I've got information I want to share. All right, so it's about 7 minutes left. Wow, what a tangent. It's gone from the refraction paradox to the COVID situation. All right, what have we got in the chat? Thanks everyone sticking around. Hope you're enjoying these views from Camberwarra Mountain here in the Shoalhaven. Didn't quite see a sunrise this morning. It was just behind those trees, unfortunately. I'll come back in a couple of weeks. Hopefully be a clear horizon. I don't think we're going to see the sunrise out of the horizon today. It was a bit cloudy, unfortunately, but I did bring my P1000 just in case I did see it. Zooming in on the sun. Whatever the sun may be, I'm going to do a whole stream on the sun. That's a whole different subject. I was trying to get through refraction. And so the refraction that the globers need, that becomes a paradox because they don't have the R value, is standard refraction, terrestrial refraction. One the same. It uses the value of 7/6R. And how do you get the value of R? You need to do an optical observation of the horizon. That's what Al Biruni did. I'll end on the Alberuni thing, because I had to cut myself off because I wanted to get through refraction. So what did Alberuni do to measure the radius of the Earth? First, he had to be down there. He had to be down there looking at a mountain like this that I'm standing on, about 630 meters above sea level. To get that height of the mountain, he had to be down there somewhere, and he had to assume that he was standing on level ground. I'll give you a little diagram of what he did. In order to get the height of a mountain, this is what Alberuni first had to do. Here we go. This is the height of the mountain here, H, and so he went to A, location A, and he measured an angle to the top of the mountain. Okay? To measure an angle, you need to assume that you are on a flat surface, and that's what it even says in this description. Alberuni's clever strategy was to measure the elevation angles A and B from 2 points, A and B, at different distances from the mountain. This is just standard trigonometry. He measured the angles A by using an astrolabe to sight the peak. He moved further back, that was A. He moved further back to B, and he measured the elevation angle B. And since A and B were both on level ground, they're right there. Since A and B were both on level ground, the distance D between them could be measured with good accuracy. And that is how he got the height of the mountain. So he first had to assume that he was on level ground. Thanks, P900 Cool Pics. See you later. Going out to walk the dog. So, in the first instance, Alberuni, to measure the height of the mountain that he was about to go up, he had to assume, he had to treat everything like it was flat, like it was level down there, yeah? And that's one level plane that we are on, yeah? So he was down there, he got that baseline level, and then he went up to the mountain, so up to here, and then he was measuring a dip angle from the mountain using his bubble level. Imagine if we had a bubble level. I didn't bring it today, my bubble level. Yeah, Iron Horse says all heights are measured above sea level, yeah. So sea level is just kind of the standard level plane that we have, and anything that you're measuring to sea level, if you're going to be above it, you're in your own parallel level plane. So if we put a bubble level, yeah, the bubble level might show that this is the bubble level, the level of the bubble, yeah? We're not dying. Oh, Resident Felon sends me money, £8.99, says, love your work, brother. Thank you so much, Resident Felon. You guys are awesome, blown away by the support. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. As I said, I'm unemployed at the moment. Doing these flat Earth school streams live here every day, putting in a lot of effort. Like I'm starting to get burnt out from getting up early to drive and to walk into these locations, but it's so much fun. It's so much better than being a slave. Anyway, I was going through what Alberuni had to do. So he had to measure a level plane down there, and parallel to that, he goes up the mountain and gets his little bubble level. So bubble level might be here, and that's a parallel plane that he's looking at. So from that parallel plane of the bubble level, he sees that there is a dip to the horizon. So he measures from that parallel plane, one parallel plane down there at sea level, one parallel plane up here with his bubble level. Two lines make a parallel relationship. From the top parallel line, you're measuring down to the bottom parallel line. Two parallel level plane lines, measuring dip angle. And that is how Alberuni went about measuring the radius of the Earth. He had to assume that he was first on a flat level plane. He had to assume that beneath his feet was flat and level, and he had to assume that when he was above on the mountain, however high he was, this is 630 meters above sea level, I could do a dip angle measurement to that horizon, which is the bottom flat level plane. But we have two flat level planes here. It only works with flat, straight lines. You can only measure angles, a dip angle, if you assume, if you're measuring with flat level planes. That's how trigonometry works. You have to have 3 straight lines to have a triangle. Yeah, that is the only way it is able to work. If that ground down there was spherical, if he measured from this point here and then went back to that point, you don't have a flat level plane that you're measuring in. You have a curved surface that is a squared function as you move back from it. So as you move back, it's just like looking at the stars. It should be a squared function that we're looking at, but every 1 degree that we're measuring an angle to the stars, every 1 degree difference is 69 miles. That is a linear relationship. It should be a squared function on a globe because you're traversing a curved surface. Just like Al-Biruni thought, he assumed that he was on a plane, a flat level plane, but then he had to presuppose once he got up the top of the mountain that he was on a curved surface because he saw a dip angle from the bubble level to the horizon. Yeah? Only way that's possible to measure is if you have 2 flat level planes parallel to each other. You're measuring from the top parallel level plane to the bottom, get an angle, and then he derived the R value from it. And so that's where the paradox comes from. If that horizon out there is not physical Earth curvature, if it's not a geometric, physical edge, what are you measuring to? What was Al-Biruni measuring to? He thought that was the edge of a sphere for some reason after treating everything as flat. He just had to insert the presupposition, unproven, that there was a curved surface beneath his feet. And so the R value, that's how we got the R value in the first instance, from that observation. So he derived, it was down to 1% of the accepted R value apparently, but there could have been no R value if that horizon. Whoa, Delta Echo gives me $20. Smash that super chat. Thank you, Delta Echo. You guys are awesome this morning. Oh man, I'm overwhelmed. This is awesome. Thank you, Delta Echo. Well, Delta Echo, man, I'm overwhelmed. Thank you so much, guys. Obviously, there are people that enjoy this live stream enough to donate their hard-earned money, and I really appreciate it because I know how hard it is to get money these days. It is really, it's a struggle. The things that people are doing to get money, some would say it's shameful. It's just whatever you are comfortable doing. Yeah, make your own decisions. Don't be ashamed of your decisions, but know why you are making your decisions. For me, I've made the decision not to be at work, not to wear a mask, not to conform to the regulations of society, and this is where I find myself. I've been outcast by society. I've been outcast by, I'm unemployable. Not only do I not have a proper job, I can't go and get another job. So super chats like that, patrons, members on my YouTube channel, I appreciate anything. I'm so grateful for everybody because this is my work now. I love. Michael Khan says one of the best shows on YouTube. Thank you, Michael. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the support. All right, it's time to wrap it up. If you feel like the world turns on you, turn to Flat Earth School. It is around us 24/7 since the beginning of its existence. I've been Mitchell from Australia. Smash the super chat, join my Patreon if you like my work, or just watch. I'm going to be here live every single day coming at you. Great information. Love you guys. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the views. Until next time, until tomorrow, keep it flat. Stay happy and healthy. Email me if you want information on homeschooling, on mask exemptions, on vaccine exemptions. mitchellfromaustralia@gmail.com. Thanks everyone. Thanks for super chats. Thanks patrons. Thanks for viewers. See you guys later. Bye.